Hi everyone, my name is Urvish Prajapati, and with me is my colleague Mike Rogatsky. Today we will be discussing an important upcoming security update for ArcGIS Online. Starting on December 8th, 2020, the enforcement of HTTPS only for all ArcGIS Online organizations will ensure secure transmission of information accessed in ArcGIS Online. This video will demonstrate how you can prepare for this change in ArcGIS Online. So let's get started. Take it away, Mike.
In our first demonstration, I'd like to show how we can set an ArcGIS Online Organizations to HTTPS only, as well as how we can proactively set some information banners and information tools to inform our members that the HTTPS only transition is coming. So I'm using an ArcGIS Online Organization. We can see here it's not secure. And if I just paste this, we'll see that it has the HTTP at the front of it instead of HTTPS. So in my organization, as an administrator that I'm logged in as, I'll see if I go into the settings that I have, go to HTTPS settings available to me, which indicates I should make the changes. So this goes into my security settings. I can also get there from the settings tab, but we'll see right off the top it discusses how this transition needs to be made to allow access to your ArcGIS Online Organization through HTTPS only. So if I flick that switch, basically you'll see right away it changes to the secure site here, and I basically am now working in an organization that has HTTPS only as its security policy. I do have the ability to turn this on and off back and forth for a period of 60 days. So like we would recommend, set up a time to flick this on to HTTPS only, do some testing over a period of days. If everything works, keep it on. If perhaps something didn't work, you have the ability to switch it back before the December 8th deadline. Now, I've done that as an administrator, and that's the main thing I would be doing as administrator, but there's some other things I can do just proactively in my organization to allow us to inform our client or inform our members that they have the ability that they should be preparing for this change. Specifically on the home page, I can do some things like put some, across my whole organization, some information banners up, change the text in my description here if this is something that I'm only using internally and you don't allow anonymous access to give some people some more information, or even have an access information banner or pop-up come in as you enter the site. So a few things proactively here. One of the things I mentioned was on the home page, editing the description. Now this is an older ArcGIS Online Organization, still using the original homepage editing tools to give it that, has the older look and feel to it here. But what I could do is perhaps in here tuck in a bit of information to say, to learn more about this switch, click on this technical support article. So if I could bring a link in here, I can link to a specific article like we see in this case. Maybe I'll change this, make it a little bit bigger and Arial as well. So I've provided a little extra text here that'll show up on the home page to my users. That's kind of a nice thing to do, give them a little information there. Also in the security, there's a lot of other ways I can inform my members that there's this change coming. One of these ways is with an information banner, which will put something across the top of the site. I can indicate to display this, and then I can provide some text, such as update your references to HTTPS before December 8th. Maybe I want this to really stand out, so I'll maybe make it a sort of redder color there in my styling. And we'll see here now at the top of the page, I've got this. This will follow me through my organization. So maybe something you'd only use if you were not allowing anonymous access to your organization for only your members to see. The tool that I like the most of all these information tools would be the access notice. So this would be for organization members to set this and display it for members when they log in. So I might want to put an information message up to say, when people go into the site, when they log in, how this is coming, and you should contact your administrator for information on what you should do to prepare. So as I save that now, we won't see anything specific in this case, but when I'll log out, and we can see my information banner. We can see the link down here to this technical support article. Look at that in a second. But when I log back in now, I get this message, which I have to say OK to go in here. So it makes me read it. You may want to turn that on for your organizations to proactively allow your members to know that this change is coming, and there will be tasks that you'll be assigning them coming soon. So we can even take a look here at this technical support article that you might want to link to on your page or provide that to your users as well. So that's a quick look at how to set your organization setting to HTTPS only and some proactive things that you can do to inform your members that this change is coming. In the second demonstration, we're going to show how to use the ArcGIS Security Advisor to query your ArcGIS Online Organization for HTTP references. We'll also show how to create a list of users that you can use to inform that they should use the ArcGIS Security Advisor to check their own content for HTTP references. So I'm in a different organization this time. It's using the new home page setup. We can see here I've got a message about HTTPS only is coming from my users. So this is like any ArcGIS Online organization. There are items. We can see in the membership here, I have 5 members that have been contributing to the organization. And let's take a look at what else we can do here as we want to go into the Security Advisor. So to do that, we want to go to trust.arcgis.com. Lots of good information in here if you're interested on overviews of security information, privacy, compliance. But what we're in for today is the Security Advisor. So when I launch it, I can connect to ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. And when I go in, we'll see that I'm going to connect as that same user I was using in ArcGIS Online. And I get access here to my settings. It's worth a little read of the help if you get a chance in any of the spots to get more information about it. There's a couple other tools here we're going to quickly look at since this is sort of a lot of options here available to you for just checking general security things in your organization. We can see, for instance, the policies here is I'm using HTTPS only access already, so that's good. I've already done that in this organization. A couple other things though that we'll get into before the HTTP check. These little scans here will do checks to see if you have any public content, like public survey 123 forms. Maybe you don't want things to be made public and you're concerned some things have been made public by users that have that privilege, or any content at all, to see if there's any public content that's been made available. So we can see here there is some content which is publicly made, totally normal for an ArcGIS Online organization to disseminate information to the public, but you might want to check these every now and then to think like, oh, we don't want this publicly available. We should talk to the curator of that data and maybe do a little check on that. But what we're in to do here is to do the HTTP check. So I went into this blade here, and it's got some fairly easy to use tools with a few parameters that I'll go through. You can scan the search, you can stop the search, you can clear the search. Really, what we want to take a look here is, we can search by the type of content that we have, search by IDs, search by advanced search. So for instance, I may just want to look at a web map content here. So we can see all the types that come up here are web maps that have some reference to HTTP in them. We can also search by an ID. So if you had a specific ID for an ArcGIS Online item you could look at. The advanced search is kind of neat because this uses the different searching parameters in ArcGIS Online. So for instance, I'm logged in as myself, but I'm an administrator, so I have the ability to scan the entire organization. If I want to just scan the items I own, we can see here I'm going to scan mgregotsky_UC. I get 6 items back that I would need to address. A couple other things here. These are excluded fields, so these would be in your items description. These don't need to be HTTP compliant, because this is just text in your website. So if I do a scan here removing description, we'll see here I get an extra item that relates to these Burlington public libraries here. And it just indicates that I have in the description an HTTP reference here. So this is completely fine. This is fine because when I click on this, it actually opens up in a new browser session. So not an issue for preparing for December 8th. Things that you have in the descriptions, license info, copyright, all of that, that's fine. You can keep that there. Much like in these excluded URLs as well, anything that is from arcgis.com or arcgisonline.com that is an HTTP reference, like you maybe have an older ArcGIS Online service, that'll automatically get connected to HTTPS, since it will, ArcGIS Online inherently supports the conversion of HTTP to HTTPS automatically. So you'll be fine there, and that's why these have been excluded. So let's clear everything and run the scan with no parameters. So I'm running this as an administrator. Like I said, when I remove that owner, I get 12 items back. So these are every item that I have in the organization that has some kind of HTTP reference in them other than in my excluded. So lots of information here, and we'll get how we assess and use this information shortly. But what I could do, this is kind of a nice little trick. I could copy this information out of the table here, put it into Excel, and paste it. And I get basically nice, all the fields come back here with all of the information that was put into the report. So what I might want to do, I can run the report, use the information that's there, but then when I'm finished, maybe I want to put it together in a nice little Excel file that I can use to further assess this. So that's kind of a quick hack there on something you can do in that regard. What I would recommend, though, is that you have your users run these themselves. So you're not responsible for it. They're the curators of that data. They become the ones who make the decisions of what should be done, because maybe the item should be deleted or updated. Leave that up to the users. Get them to do that work. To do that, it's quite simple to get a report with all your users' email addresses where you could email everyone. I only have 5 people in my org. Maybe I know them. Maybe I work with them every day. But if I don't, I can go run a report where it will get me a list of all users, and most importantly, it gets me a list of all the users and their email addresses. So I'll run this report. It takes a second to create. And when that's up, I'll be able to then send that information out to my members of my organization. So let's take a look at a report that we would have run. We can quickly open it. And we'll see when I open that file, I've got a list of all my users, specifically their email address. So I could email everyone, give them the login or give them information to use the trust site, the security advisor, and to proceed to check all their items for themselves. So that's a quick look at how we can interrogate our organization with the security advisor and how to get a list of all users at their email addresses so I can inform them to make this change. Now we're going to take a look at how you can address the different issues that have been found by the security advisor HTTP check. I'm going to search specifically on my username since I want to be responsible for my own content. So I'll do a scan, and I get 4 items back that have a bit of information here about what's going on. One of the items is the administrative report that I ran previously. This is a fairly new function and tool in ArcGIS Online, so it's not really picked up by the ArcGIS Security Advisor at this time. We don't need to worry about that one. That doesn't figure into the HTTP issue. We're gonna work on these other 3 ones that we see here, and we'll go through how you can kind of address each of these as we're gonna work through those. So let's go to the view item template of this Moncton bicycle racks. I can see that there's a URL to an HTTP server. So what's kind of nice is if you can get into the underlying template here and do a search, you'll quickly see where that HTTP reference is. And it looks like it's a reference to an ArcGIS Enterprise server to a feature service. So what I can do in this case is go to the item itself, or take me to update, because it's we know it's a ArcGIS Enterprise service. If we go to the update, we'll see I have this ability to update layers to HTTPS. So what this will do is it's gonna basically check to see if there's an HTTPS equivalent, and if there is, it will update that layer. So that bicycle racks has been updated. It's kind of nice. It tells you everything else was already there. The ArcGIS Online services were all good, ready to go there. But that ArcGIS Enterprise service, it was still an old HTTP reference. So now if I want, I can open this up in the map viewer just to see that it works. And lo and behold, Moncton bicycle rack locations. And if I go back to the Security Advisor, we've got 4 items for a review right now. I'll see that there are now 3. So that has been crossed off my list. I can now carry on with another item here. So I see one here, document link. This one, an update needs to be made to the item card. Let's check that out. So this is just a document link. So this is a reference to another URL. I can see here that the URL is something I'm just referencing in my ArcGIS Online save for my other colleagues to find. I can, I'll just view this to see what happens. And we see right away it actually takes us to an HTTPS URL here. So that's an older document link that I have in there. I might as well, while I'm here, I can go through and I don't change that here. I change it over in the settings. I can see it's basically saying, hey, this is going to be continued later this year. So a good opportunity to change this. So as I'm going through with these items here, I should be asking myself too, do I still need these items? Are these older items that I don't need anymore? Perhaps that's the case and I can simply remove them. In this case, I'm keeping them, but that's something you might want to ask yourself if this is older content. As I've worked in other ArcGIS Online organizations on this, I've used this as an opportunity to clean up my content. Okay, we'll deal with one more item here, a web mapping application. Looks like there's a lot going on here. So I'll go to the view item template again. So it's a web mapping application, looks a little bit different than the other items. And I'll do a find here on HTTP. And I see there's a whole bunch of stuff here. So some logos, it looks like it'll bring to another URL, something in the text here about a school. So what can I do here? Well, this is in a story map, so I can go right into the story map editor and see what the deal is with all of this. So I can see I've got an old Esri Canada logo there. That's kind of glaring at me. We haven't used that logo in years. So this is obviously something older. If I go into the settings for where that logo is, I'll see that it is using an older logo here. This must be quite old because I'm referencing the old Esri Canada website before it was set to a HTTPS. So this is probably many years old. So I may not need this application, but I'll show you the ways you can correct it here. So using the item template, I've been able to find where the header is and poke through it, see that I have this URL. I've got another logo here for an updated one. Oh, that's a nicer looking logo for sure. So I could take that and put that into here and apply this change. Now that looks a little more modern, and I can save this as I'm working on it too. It's a swipe map app here to show the difference between school improvements. Now there's another link here that I haven't found, but it looks like in the side panel here, if I look at this, I'll see in the link that it's a link to an old external URL. So I could change this here. Now, if I have a lot of different items that have HTTP in them in an app, I'm gonna have to hunt through them, which is fine. That's the recommended thing to do. You could use a shortcut though, which would be the ArcGIS Online Assistant to help you find, to sniff out where those HTTP points are and change them in the JSON. So it is an unsupported app, but you are welcome to use it. I'm going to find that Humber Crest application. I want to view the items JSON. And I'll move down to the bottom here where I can see here I have the HTTPS. Down here I have the HTTP. I could just change this here as well. So all these opportunities to make these changes, I can do that here. Save it. That'll change the underlying story map since I'm modifying the JSON. Again, good to make a copy of these. You copy it to back it up. Highly recommend doing that if you'd like to use this tool. If I go back to the Security Advisor now and I scan, I'll see that I just have that one item available to me there. So that's what we can do with the ArcGIS Security Advisor. It's a great tool to help you find those HTTP references, and those are some of the strategies you have available to you to update them.
Thank you, Mike, for covering the ArcGIS Online side of things. I would like to continue regarding the tips for the HTTPS only switch in ArcGIS Enterprise later this year. The change to HTTPS in ArcGIS Online will have an effect if a layer in ArcGIS Online points to a web service from an ArcGIS Enterprise server. To get started, I have a service that is from an ArcGIS server that is configured with HTTP only. When I try to update the layers through the web map settings as demonstrated earlier by Mike, there is an error that will show. So when I click this update layers to HTTPS, there's an error showing that sample world cities doesn't support HTTPS. In order to make the change to the service, you will first need to configure your ArcGIS server to support HTTPS as well as your ArcGIS web adapter. Depending on your setup, you may already have HTTPS enabled in one or the other. I will cover both. For security best practice, it is recommended that you enforce HTTPS communication for both ArcGIS server and the web server hosting ArcGIS web adapter. Then you simply need to use the tools we discussed earlier to update the item in ArcGIS Online to use HTTPS. Now I will demonstrate how to configure ArcGIS server and your web adapter to support HTTPS. To enable HTTPS in ArcGIS server itself, this change must be made through the ArcGIS server administration directory. Please log in to server admin. Once we're logged in, we'll go through security, configuration for security, and then update under supported operations. Under protocol, we will change from HTTP only to HTTPS only. You have the option to use either HTTPS only or HTTP and HTTPS. However, the security best practice would be to use HTTPS only. Once you have enabled HTTPS in ArcGIS server, it may take a few minutes for the services to restart. Note that if you switch to HTTPS only, you will have to change your URL in the browser to use HTTPS and go through the port 6443 rather than 6080. Next, you will also have to make sure HTTPS is enabled on the ArcGIS web adapter. This workflow may change depending on whether you are working with Windows or Linux, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I will show you how to make this change in Windows. To start, access Internet Information Services, or IIS, on the machine where your ArcGIS server web adapter is installed. We will make the change on the default website. Under bindings, we will add HTTPS only. So we'll add to HTTPS. Now, we'll make sure that you select the appropriate CA signed certificate that matches your web adapter URL. Okay. Once that is added, we can close this. Once those changes are made, you can go ahead and update the URL using the tools demonstrated by Mike. We will go back to our sample world cities map in our ArcGIS Online account by clicking Update Layer to HTTPS or by updating the source URL of the feature service. So we'll just hit Update Layers to HTTPS. And perfect. Note, the HTTPS switch is only for ArcGIS Online. No changes need to be made in ArcGIS Enterprise if you do not plan to use ArcGIS Enterprise services through ArcGIS Online. However, we do recommend enforcing HTTPS in ArcGIS Enterprise either way as security best practice. The Security Advisor tool covered earlier can also be used to pinpoint any HTTP-based items from ArcGIS Enterprise in your ArcGIS Online Organization. We hope that Mike and I have provided you with some useful information to start preparing for the ArcGIS Online switch to using HTTPS only. As mentioned throughout the video, we have included the resources mentioned today in the video description below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video, feel free to leave any comments and/or suggestions below. Lastly, if you would like to see more Esri Canada demos, you can subscribe to our channel using the subscribe button below the video. Thank you.